over, and like shoot, we was like feeding the army. What nut? You get first come, first serve.
People that's taking over. I get it.
Yeah,
You need to bring them into this business, bring them
yeah,
into the business and teach them a bit. I mean, like your girls, like you gonna be like, you have 3 girls that are yours and you have 3 boys that are not yours, right?
right.
Yeah. So you gotta, bring them into the business. My boy is 4 years old, so he has 3 more years and then he'll be on payroll.
Yeah, I'm about. That's why I was just.
Dead serious.
I've been working on my EIN and everything to get.
Okay.
I was gonna check out this PPP loan, and I was like, man, I can have all my kids as employees. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying?
Yep. I mean, you can. Do it. I wouldn't suggest you wouldn't. I mean, like, the business is yours. Once you set it up, you control it. Like, it's not going to be like something that takes off that you're not going to have control over. Once you create that EIN number, then you're going to be able to do more things as far as getting business credit, taking money out, on a business credit line, and not using your own personal money and just using that money for things such as for yourself, but for the business too. Like eating out is a big thing for me. Writing off your kids, like my kid's only 4 years old, so that's the thing with him. Like I'll give him a salary, and everything that I put in his bank account as his pay rate will be spent on like his food, his clothes, and stuff like that. And then I get a full off deduction from all that, plus my deduction. But yeah, I'm more so eager in figuring out how we can kind of present ourselves in the podcast space, but also in the YouTube space. I think this social media in general, and like talking about like a certain topic and like coming up with different questions. I think definitely our experiences as being a black man in business, also, but I also think we should talk about things that are relevant to people to help people, as
Mhm.
we go along. So
And I
yeah,
do have a unique situation because, um, I'm 7-time felon. Uh, so getting over all those humps when I was younger,
yeah,
uh, is really helpful. I can help people get in the right direction and information that to put get people who have been in trouble into business. Because a lot of them really, I don't know why people think that you can, once go to prison or something, you'll get a felony, your life is
yeah,
over. It's not
exactly.
over. Uh,
Exactly. And I think just like working with that is like capitalism to the black man, like how we can use capitalism to come above, even though people might have a record or something like that. If we are able to provide a service or a product to people and able to push, make the world better around us, people are going to want to pay us irregardless of our personal record or anything like that. So you kind of like reminded me of what's that guy's name? What's that guy's name? Jay, Mr. Jay. Dang it.
Jay Williams or something. Jay
Ah,
Morrison. Jay Morrison.
we butchered his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay Morrison. Talking about Jay Morrison and how he is a 3-time felon and he's done what he's done in the real estate business as well. But I think with him, he had a product where he is pushing real estate and how people with no, education or equity or any type of business or anything can start from zero and build a real estate portfolio. And I think that was his, and everybody wanted to build a real estate portfolio for themselves. So he attracted that attention. You know,
Hmm.
I just really want to get my message across, live freely and talk freely about certain issues of the world, but also be like a motivator and pushing people and inspiring people to do things and do more and to actually, start to reap the benefits of the things that they have manifested like in their dreams. Like a lot of people dream, right? But they actually start to reap the benefits of actually manifesting and actually executing on those dreams. I think that's something I really highly want to push, forward. I think that's my purpose, in this
Hmm.
lifetime is to inspire people to do more and to really like be comfortable with themselves, you know, not be too comfortable to where they stay the same and they, you know, they're doing the same things, but I want them to be more comfortable, you know, expressing themselves in ways and articulating that way. I think culture has a lot to do with it too. The misusage of culture, and like I think one of the topics we could talk about is the culture, the difference between like cultures between like Irish, Italian people, Chinese people, Asian people, and then Black people in general, and like the difference between our culture, because there's a culture there, it's just no nationality on top of it. So we have a lot of people growing up being confused, you know, on like how that works. So I think that's interesting to talk about.
Yeah, and especially since I I honestly think going into this culture thing, I don't think we have one. But we're creating one out of nothing. So whereas we have American culture, which is very fucked up because we don't we don't have nothing. We started from nothing, but then we we would we hurt ourselves more than we help ourselves, and
Mm,
that's not and it starts from we have a every man for himself mentality in our culture.
yeah,
Um, Whereas if you're Asian, you know, I live next to some Asian, well, my parents do, and I remember it was like 5 different families. Now they have a house on this side of my mom, on this side of my mom, and behind them, and like they can go through the fence to go to the other one, and
yeah,
like all those, it was probably like 30, 40 people lived in those houses.
yeah. They definitely share their space with people that they're familiar with. Um,
Mexicans do the same, but
yeah,
they don't even have to be family. With
yeah.
Mexicans, they just, you know, Tina got a new Mexican
Hell yeah,
boyfriend.
you
He
bringing
moved
some,
in.
yeah, you bringing in some income. Come on, come on.
Yeah.
Let's buy up the whole land. Like here where I live in Oak Park next to like Cicero, and they have uh like the Hispanics have really definitely taken over like in droves. And I heard there was like different families from Mexico, like cartels that actually like bought up like, you know, a lot of property for a lot of people. And like families are like just working and like paying like the different cartels and stuff. So there's a lot of like Hispanics in Chicago. Um but I think yeah, that is definitely something that's important is a culture. Um, I, I would say it's a lost culture because it's in a way that we're brainwashed in a way, right? We're brainwashed in a way to where we're not speaking our native tongue, right? We don't know our native language or anything like that. So it's kind of like to say like, who's to know that this isn't our culture? You know, that's been stolen from us. Like I've been like seeing like read books and stuff like Stolen Legacy and stuff, and that kind of reveals some things about different Caucasians and where they get their history from and how they kind of like whitewashed it and, you know, sold this story that they're the, you know, the beginning of time and that they were the original gods and all that stuff. So I think just unbreaking some of that stuff will be interesting.
Mhm.
Because I've definitely get where you're saying like there's no, you know, really foundation for a steady culture, but I think there's a culture there. Like me growing up like on the south side of Chicago, we grew up in the James Brown like areas when he was like hot in like the 80s and the 70s, and I came in like in 1990 where I grew up in like the James Brown area where rollerblading, rollerblading was still hot, right? Like that was a thing to do, and just getting on some, you know, JB and is what they call it, is roller skating. They used to go to they used to have a rink out here in Chicago where a lot of people used to go and have the jukathons. So that's, you know, booty shaking and stuff like that. It's not like immediately appropriate for like, you know, TV and stuff like that, but I think that's a part of the culture that we share. And I think it's just a hindrance that we really can't show our culture with pride, you know, unless it's like a parade or something. Like I don't know if you've been seeing the Caribbean and what do they call those things? Those festivals and stuff that they show.
Mm, Carnival.
Yeah, Carnival. Yeah, Carnival. Yeah, I've seen it on Rio before. But I think those things are. I remember that movie. But I think those things are interesting. As far
I,
as like,
I, this is we have Juneteenth, and
yeah,
I know it just passed, but honestly, that like okay, my sister-in-laws, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, he was with his cousin at the Juneteenth celebration, and his cousin got killed,
uh-huh.
and it's like, you know, we're trying to have a celebration for us in liberation, and this is what we have to worry about. But let's I don't know what white people have that they celebrate St. Patrick's Day
Yeah.
when they want to go to a parade. There's no shootings. There's no it's
Because it's surrounded by a culture, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like the white people that do the St. Patrick's Day, they're Irish, so their St. Patrick's Day is literally like our Juneteenth, like when we were freed in this country. Their St. Patrick Day is like kind of like similar things when they were freed from Britain rule, over them. So it's surrounded by their culture. Like for our culture, there's no June. We have Juneteenth, right? And it's just now been recently recognized again because of George Floyd being killed in front of people, right? So now it's like, okay, businesses want to show support to keep their black customers. It's all a part of the game of the correct marketing, putting value and demand together. Like there's a demand for like justice and stuff. So these companies like Netflix have created a Black Lives Matter collection on their Netflix program now. So they're trying to appeal to us in a way to say like, hey, we're on your side. But it's kind of in a way that they just like say, hey, we still want your money. So and we want you to feel comfortable with us. You
I
know.
don't I don't want them to turn it into a watered down uh, festival. Just I mean it's fine the way it is when it's just all black, but
Hmm.
don't if they start marketing like think about this. The Jordan brand shoes and Nike and Jordan, and probably everybody else that has the Black History Month shoes. Who do they donate to? They put Kente cloths on their shoes and call it a day, and sell out all these shoes. And they're not. I don't know how much. I've never paid for none because I figured I was like that's appropriating African culture into
Uh-huh.
shoes, and there was no actual message behind them. There's they weren't putting saying like, oh, okay, well we're gonna. Oh, I know Nike does a lot of stuff for Black people in general, but you put the Black History Month shoes on, but are proceeds going to a Black History museum? Because understand these shoes are selling out, so I'm guaranteeing they clearing millions of dollars that they could donate to a
And the thing is, I think they do, Perry, and that's how they get away with not paying taxes. Like a lot of people say, like, how does Donald Trump not pay taxes? How does Jeff Bezos doesn't pay taxes? Because Jeff Bezos uses his platform and he makes a lot of money, but he comes off as he gives a lot away, and which he does, and that's why he's a millionaire. He knows financial literacy, and it's in the culture and the DNA of his people. I think that's just super important for us to really, I don't know, figure out like, yes, and I think be comfortable with knowing that we are speaking. And when I went to Africa, I noticed this. They were like, oh, you're American, you're so like wealthy, and I want to be an American like you. And I'm like, no, you want to be an African where you have your native tongue, you know your own language. Like I'm speaking English to you right now. I have no idea what my native tongue is, so you need to cherish your culture and build around that. And I think a lot of the confusion around the culture in America, like especially Black Americans, is like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna follow? We're not even connected to the mainland like that. And that's what I noticed when I went to Africa is we're not connected with them because they need our wisdom that we've been pretty much whitewashed. and brainwashed to a way to where we know how to deal with systems and business and capitalism. We're used to that, to where they don't have a capitalistic structure there. There's kind of more like, hand us jobs. We need jobs, like, to work. It's kind of like the same thing here, but they're more so economically dependent on somebody providing them a job. And I feel like we are smart enough as Black Americans to be around, what we have to, actually make that connection with them and build with them. I really want to get into sustainable energy, and that's a passion of mine, that's going to come later on down the road after Dudley Accounting Services is locked and sealed. But that's something I definitely want to get into, is sustainable energy for our people, because once you're able to create like a light bulb and create your own, energy and harvest your own energy, like, you can pretty much do anything as an economy, and we already own most of the land, in Africa and back in Africa. So, and they even land here, like getting into real estate. And that's why I really love about real estate in America. Like, it's pretty much open to people who are willing to actually like work and like actually dig out different deals and actually like put together the right people and actually come together on certain deals. You know,
Yeah.
sorry, I probably went
I
up
think,
like a lot
no,
of
you good.
places, but
I think we, as our culture, we need to create a better business culture. Like I really like what Jeff is doing with us. Like
hmm
he's creating a business culture between us Black men and
yeah,
women.
hmm
So that I don't, I haven't really seen anything like this, and which is surprising that like I couldn't even find Oklahoma City is not a great big city. It's not. There are Black business owners, but they're very few and far in between. They hate on each other, and trust me, I hate some of them too. But it's just we don't have that business culture here in Oklahoma. Now Houston, they Black business culture is through the roof.
yeah.
Louisiana, Black business culture through the roof.
DC is cracking.
Yeah.
I love DC, man.
So I mean, I think I would like to create that here. I think that would be very important to create. And the guy I did his taxes for him and his business taxes. He wants to get in too, and I think and would help push start that Black business culture that we need to see, because he also does Black entrepreneur. It's on Instagram. Pull this up. Uh, I don't want to get it wrong.
Exactly. So I get you. I get you. I feel like we should definitely build up our Black business culture, but first of all, like, what culture are we passing down to our kids? Like, I'm teaching my kids what an asset is and a liability. I'm teaching my kids when we go sit at the park, like, and we see the ice cream truck pull up to a group of Black people at the park, and they know that they're gonna go buy it, so they pull up right next to them. And I told my son to sit and watch, and I'm like, "Hey, sit and watch and see what happens." And then like five or like six of them, started to cross the street and to pursue the ice cream truck. But I sat there and I told my son, like, who would you rather be, the people who are going to buy the ice cream or the ice cream truck riding around selling the ice cream? And because my son knows about assets, because he has his own vending machine company, so he's doing vending machines at like barbershops and salons. So I taught him early on what an asset was, and he told me that the ice cream truck would be more beneficial because he gets other people, to pay for his ice cream because he wants ice cream. But if you can get, a hold of an asset to where you can take advantage of other people's money and have them pay for it. It sounds bad, but that's what capitalism is. Like, you're taking other people's wants and needs and desires and turning it into profit and income. That's why attention is so important in today's time, you know. So
Hmm. Yeah, I don't. My 17-year-old, My okay, the 22-year-old, he's not business minded. I told him to go to he wanted to go to college. I said, man, you should go get a trade. Well, he did 1 year college and was working at Cold Stone. Then he stopped working there to work with his friend doing construction. And I said, man, if you would have just went to do a trade for that 1 year
Mm-hmm.
and into construction, because you ended up in there anyway. So now he can't really stop working to go do a trade unless he can find it. But so that's where my 17-year-old, he he wants to know, he wants to do something. Like he
Yeah.
figured out he wants to do music, which is fine. I don't mind it. He's 17, but that's something you got to do as a hobby. You still gonna have to get a job. You still gonna have to provide for yourself. And if it works, if your hobby takes off, I'm all for that. I'm not going to suppress your dreams because I've
Exactly.
had my dad do that.
I mean, I think you should
And
talk to him and support him, like, if his hobbies and dreams. And even though if he does fail, at least he tried. I think that's a miss thing that's within our culture is like our fathers helping or our parents in general helping us, achieve our dreams and supporting us and not really bogging us down, with their worries and just really recognizing what's going on, with them first before they, actually put their burden on their kids, because a lot of parents put their burden on their kids too. Their problem that they're having. They'll express it in a way to where it's kind of like it kills your dream off, but it's really them. To something that probably has had happened to them in the past, and they want to cut short your dreams because their dream didn't work out. So you
yeah,
have to be
we
aware
was
of that.
poor growing up, so I had for me to get what I wanted, because I didn't want to wear my sister's hand-me-down jeans and shoes and stuff. And then I started having to buy my own shoes because we had six. I had five brothers and sisters.
Mm,
Well, four sisters and one brother. So
yeah.
and then plus two parents all in one house. You know, it wasn't. We didn't grow up rich, so I started working at 14. You know, and so all I've known was to work. There was no, my dad wasn't an entrepreneur. My dad didn't know about credit. He bought a house when he was uh, well, I was 17. So this was about 20 years ago, almost 20, 18 years ago.
So
They
your
didn't know about credit.
your dad bought a house when you was 17 years ago, you said?
Yeah. And so only two people that still living in the house was myself and my daughter. I mean, not my daughter, my sister.
Hmm.
So all the kids had to basically get out the house before they were able to be financially independent to purchase their first home. Well, when I bought my house, we still had all six of our kids living here.
Hmm.
So it's like I had to figure that out. Basically, how to maneuver my credit, how to
But
leverage my jobs and work extra and do all that.
yeah, exactly. Now you figured it out. You're in a position to teach your kids what you have learned. I think your dad messed up when he didn't teach you what happened when he bought the house. If he bought the house straight up, like can he, do something with the house? Can he, use a HELOC loan to use the principal that he pays in that home, you know, use the principal as like a bank pretty much to make a down payment on another apartment and then give you that apartment. Now you've grown up, you have to learn on your own and you have to go out on your own and get an apartment or a house on your own, right? So it made it a little bit more difficult for you, but I think it's important that you instill in this 17-year-old, and I'm thinking like you said, 22 and 17, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
So
then
myself, yeah, I'm getting him on. I'm actually teaching them how to, because marijuana is legal if you get a
Mhm.
grow license. So I got a license and started growing. I don't smoke, but I see the potential in money. He monitors it, and he actually has to do no work. You just water the plants, and it's just teaching them to take care of stuff. But
Yeah.
why he's still working at Walmart, so he's gonna do these plants. I said, as soon as these are done, I'm getting my money back, and then what money we do have, we're going to take it, we're going to split the cost and do even more.
Yeah.
So, but he's going to realize that, like, oh man, the cost of the business, if I make $2,000 off the first few trees,
Mm.
after I pay myself back, that's part of business. You got to pay back the loan for, if you got a loan for your business, you got to pay that back first. Then you got to pay to re-up everything, and then you got to, then pay yourself. You really should pay yourself first. But in this case, we trying to get everything going back again, and
Exactly.
so he gonna figure that out when he go, oh, we made $2,000. Then the 2,000 turned to 1,000. Then we split that 1,000 between each other, and then we got to take that 1,000 and buy more stuff.
Yeah,
So
it gets hard there. So yeah, I would definitely say like creating a system behind that and having it like I think that's an awesome bonding time between you and your son or daughter to actually go through things like this over your lifetime and teach them these different systems. And that's I think where it's important for you to get the system down first. So as you're doing it, you're explaining what's happening. Rather than we come from a teacher's type of stance in a way to our kids sometimes, and I think it's important to kind of show by doing, and it's like, hey, son, this is how this works, rather than, I mean, it's good to definitely have those conversations, but I think it creates a uh, I'll do it later type of mentality, if we do continue to keep saying like, hey, we're going to do this or we're going to do that, but we haven't actually, dipped our, our hands into the clay and start molding our projects and doing our projects. So I think that's definitely, like I said, my son's 4 years old. So I'm getting him started early with his vending machine thing. It kind of took a dive when the COVID-19 thing happened because nobody was going into barbershops or salons, and it's kind of like the whole candy touching thing and stuff like that. So we're still unsure of that market. We are looking into buying him a couple soda machines to put in like places like, and I really want to target Amazon, but Amazon probably Amazon, those factories probably already have like Coca-Cola and they have everything probably. We want to target like a place, a factory or something where people are constantly like working and using the machine. I think that'd be good for him to see that grow. And it kind of makes him excited to receive money without actually not having to work for it. And then we can hire somebody to kind of go maintain the machines and fill them up. So that's
I
something
looked into that,
yeah.
and I think I might. One thing is, this is why I didn't pull the trigger on getting a vending machine. I didn't have a truck, and that was the most important thing. Is if you don't have a truck, like sometimes you got to move vending machines. You buying, because I watched this thing. It was a have you ever heard of Earn Your Leisure? It's on YouTube. They have a podcast too, but I don't really listen to the podcast.
No, I
But
haven't. No.
they had a guy on there um who does vending machines, and I listened to it, and I was like, man, if you should check it out, I'll send you. Try to find it on YouTube.
Okay.
But man, he basically broke it down. I was like, oh, this is pretty dope. So I started looking into it, like 400, 500. I was also looking into buying a snow cone truck, and I found one, but then the guy wanted too much money for it, and I was like, nah. If I just find the old mail truck one day, then I go for the old mail truck. But I wasn't gonna pay $4,000 for a truck that didn't run.
Yeah,
And
that'll be bogus.
yeah, so that I didn't make that purchase, and then I was like, so I got to do something. So if they do pass this next, well, basically I used the stimulus money to start the other business, start to grow. So I think I'm gonna use, if we get another one, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna try to get some vending machines, because I was like, man, the only reason why I didn't get one is because I didn't have a truck. I was like, man, all right, well.
Yeah, and I think a truck is a big part of it. Like I don't have a truck or anything to move it or anything like that, but I would get it like stable. I don't know, stable enough to where the machines don't break. Once I get it there, I can use it for a long period of time, and I could just rent a truck or something for a
Mhm.
couple hours if I need it.
Yeah,
Uh,
what you call it? Got them for 1995. Well, that's here, but
was it
uh,
U-Haul?
U-Haul, 1995.
And you can
You
get a
know,
dolly. You can get a
yeah,
dolly with it. I mean, I'm all down for it, but I think having a business and being able to write that off, you're able to write off at least 15 grand, in your startup. Just trying different things. You can try pottery if you want, if you want to do pottery, and then you can switch it up to real estate, or you can switch it up to a vending machine company. So I think that's a good thing about starting, a business. But I think a lot of the things that you said, and starting these businesses is kind of what we're going through with our curriculums and stuff like that, is creating the system behind it. And I think once I'm able to actually create the system, because I've already created the system for myself to kind of like manage like my tax, like doing taxes and doing like general accounting, bookkeeping, and stuff in real estate, as far as like QuickBooks and doing cost segregation. I think I've kind of mastered a system for myself, but I kind of need to spend more time in like figuring out what's a good system for others, like that will inspire them to kind of work and produce good results, but actually enjoy what they're doing. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as thinking, as a business owner and an entrepreneur in a way, if you would say, in a sense that it's really more than just entrepreneurship. I got to manage my business, and I'm also being a technician in my business because I'm doing all the work myself. So definitely looking at creating more systems to hire other people on. And like I said before, when my son's 7, i
yeah.
hope i hope he's able to work a computer.
Oh, he will be. Oh, yeah.
I mean nowadays, man, 2020, it's crazy. These kids are flying, man. I mean, it's becoming easier to do. I think it's easier to do, and I'm thankful for technology, but I'm excited for him to grow up and to learn, you know.
I think the best. I think we are in a great age where we've seen it evolve, but we're still young enough to update it with it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I find
uh,
myself being the old slow dude sometimes with technology. I'm like, man, I don't know how to work this. Like, I feel like I feel like those old people I was making fun of back in the day.
yeah, I get. I mean,
The flip
yeah,
phone.
I like the technology, but I try to use most simplest systems
Exactly.
because I in the difficult. Like I know how to work. I think we was talking about using Excel. I know how to work that, but I rather then when Google Sheets came around, I was
Yeah.
still using
Oh,
Microsoft. I was like, now I'm not going back. So now I'm like,
Google Sheets is a bomb.com, man.
yeah, it's where it's all at. So I haven't really. I mean, I have them on my computer, but I don't ever use them. I haven't used not for school, not for anything.
Yeah.
So